Mr. Miracle #10, Tom King writing and Mitch Gerrits on the art. So this was delayed a few times. So finally we've got it. We've got it in our midst. And we ended the last issue, and I had to think about it for a second when I started. I was like, okay, what did the last one end with? What was the plot of the last issue?
Because it was a while ago.
Yeah, I had to think about it. And I was like, okay, that's right. Darkseid said, "Hey, we'll end the war, but you have to give me your firstborn," and that was the end of the issue. So this issue is so Barda and Scott are back home. They're looking after the kid, and generally doing like normal things, but every so often they've got these first birthdays coming up, so they're planning the party and they're doing that stuff. And basically Scott feels guilty about all the people who are dying constantly in this war, to the point where he at least wants to discuss the possibility of handing over the kid, and Barda's like having none of it.
You just know Matt got a grin like 2 pages into this when a certain couple of characters showed up to be some drinking pals.
The blue and gold and red and green and yellow.
Exactly.
Oh man, I was seeing Cord there. So this tells me, I don't want to say that this is a black label, but if they throw the black label on,
they totally
later,
could. They could do that for the trade.
They totally could.
I would expect it, because
this is traditional Ted Cord. This is not, Ted Cord that we got in Blue Beetle, where this seems to be Booster Gold's best buddy.
Yep.
And then I had to think, were they on? Then they were on a Justice League team together. They're on the I Can't Believe It's Not the Justice League era.
Yeah.
So
it's just another one of these things that tells me, okay, this book's just not in continuity, and that's fine.
Yep. So also, so I got into some conversation on Twitter about this issue, because, as I said, despite it being about New Gods and the anti-life equation and superheroes, it's the realest book that on the stands right now. Granted, I don't read a lot of, independents, so I could be completely off. But for the books that I read, this feels like the most real life, because just down to the conversation that Scott and Barda are having about
which one?
Well, any of them, really. Like, these are, I feel like King could have ripped these from actual conversation. If it wasn't about trading your firstborn to end a war.
Yeah.
Right? But it's like, I get where both are coming from. I get Scott looking at this going, I could end the war tomorrow, but I have to give up my firstborn kid. And Barda going, well, the fact that you're even thinking about that is ridiculous. That's our firstborn. And him going, yeah, but we were raised there, and we are here.
Okay.
And
yeah,
it's fine. She's like, absolutely not. So,
and obviously, there's the sort of the metaphor elements here of what this is. It's really about. Is that he has what he thinks is a valid reason to give up. Being a parent's tough. There's a lot of responsibility. He has what he thinks is a valid reason to bail. And obviously, it seems noble. Which, by the way, I didn't notice before I read it the first time, but he's wearing a Sheriff of Babylon shirt when he goes to get the birthday cake.
Yep.
Neat touch, Gerrits.
Yep.
I see what you did there.
Yeah, you shill.
Yeah.
You dirty shell.
Yeah, but he's breaking down the shower. He's trying to get the cake, and it's all this responsibility, and he's trying to bring it up with Barda, and I like how he's basically wearing a reverse Flash shirt in the scene where he tries to talk to Barda about it. Like he's not being what he's supposed to be here. He's
he's just slightly off.
Yeah, and Barda gets a little upset. And
Barda's is like, when do I get to escape?
Yeah. Well, that's the thing. It all boils down to that big scene where she confronts him about committing suicide or trying to commit suicide.
Yeah.
And it's again, it's such a real scene in the park where, I helped you, I picked you up off the bathroom floor, and you're still looking for ways to escape. Like, we've built this together, and you're still trying to get out of it. Like, no. No, you might think this is the right thing to do. You might have like what seems like a noble reason to justify your actions, but that's not what this is. Now, admittedly, obviously, if in real life the option was literally you have to give up your firstborn to end a war that's killing millions of people, okay, in a real world context, if that somehow was the choice, sure, there'd be a debate to have. But we're talking about a book here.
You probably do have to consider it, right?
But here we've got a metaphor here. We're telling a story that's really about something else. Like the whole book has been about. He's got a Shazam shirt on that scene actually.
He does, yeah.
But is that implying that he's not really grown up? That he's still immature? because he's really still a kid
It
inside.
could be.
I don't know. Maybe I'm reading too much out of that.
I should say, I'm pretty sure Garrett said at one point, don't take too much into the shirt choices. He just throws in whatever's cool.
Yeah, and that's fine, but
Fair.
I feel like we can, like, again,
Yeah.
the Reverse Flash. It's a little bit
No,
like
you can read into things
Yeah,
if you're looking for them, but
it's
they're
kinda like
not
always-
necessarily intended.
well, it's kind of like they say about jazz. It's not the notes you play; it's the notes you don't play. It's kind of like that too, where it can be about the shirt, but not really. But you know,
It's always about the shirt. Don't believe his lies. Don't believe his lies.
yeah, he's a prankster. He's got a newborn baby there. He's not firing on cylinders.
he is just running on caffeine. Let's be honest.
Yeah.
I do think it's funny, given what this book's about now, like that he happens to be writing this as he is literally a new father himself, or not writing, drawing it.
Drawing.
But no, like it gets so real here. Actually, it's just, it's when she's like, you're messed up, and I've stuck with you, so that makes me messed up, and I'm censoring the language a little bit. It's clearly some harsher things behind those symbols.
Yeah.
But so yeah, so it's like no, we struggle. We persevere, we struggle through these hard times, and we get through it. And of course, the war
Together.
here is just a metaphor for real life. But
also, I read on Twitter that Jack Kirby's birth name was Jacob. So the fact that Funky is Stan Lee, and
I think it's even clearer in this issue that Jacob's supposed to be Kirby, because I can't remember Stan Lee's character's name here now,
Funky.
but he says, talking about Jacob, it's like, he provides all the imaginations, I do the words, and that was their relationship. Kirby drew the issues, plotted it, drew it, sent it over to Stan Lee, and went, "Hey, put some words on this."
Yep. Yeah.
Like, it's a crazy system,
well,
right? To go that
always
way
one of my
around.
favorite stories, and it's a little apocryphal because I don't know if it actually happened, but people say like Fantastic Four that for the first issue of Galactus, all Stan told Kirby was, "Oh, the Fantastic Four fight God," and so when he came back, Kirby had drawn Galactus, and that was his version of God.
Yeah.
And then Stan makes a story around that.
But I want to point out that when it gets to like him and Funky putting up the banners for the birthday, right? And then the middle panel is the first time I believe in the issue we see the video effect.
Right.
That something's not quite right. Like the idea that it's happening where it says happy birthday, and that's where the source of the stress is coming from. It's just, it's like he's not thinking that way, but that's where the source of the stress is coming from, is the kid.
I also like that it's over the Batman symbol stuff, and let's not forget, Batman eats babies.
Batman does eat babies.
Also, I want to point out there's
almost my panel of the week, but it's not going to be.
Yeah.
But
almost
parody.
I will tell you this though. There's a page in this comic that I can say with the utmost confidence I could have drawn this page.
Yes.
Do you know what I can say with? I know it's not credit. I'm confident this is King's art here. I've seen enough of his doodles on covers to know that this is his art.
Yeah. That's Tom King's crypto for a fact.
No, it is. I know it is. I'm like, he definitely drew this and went, "Here you go. I'll give you a page off. I'll help you out."
Yeah, because of course it's meant to be something that the kid drew, and that's why he gets away with it. I love how he gets away with his art by saying a 1-year-old drew it.
Yeah.
So he gets away with it.
Honestly, I'm not gonna lie. If a 1-year-old drew this, I'd be pretty impressed.
Yeah, it's not bad for a 1-year-old.
Yeah.
But no, I love it. I got to this page and I just started laughing, and I'm like, I should never be able to say that I can draw that page, but I could draw this page, maybe even better than what this page is.
I'm not confident
realize
enough
that's
in my
the
ability.
Statue of Liberty on the second panel.
Oh, it's so good. It's so good.
Yeah.
I'm actually almost more annoyed it got delayed so much. He had a page off. King did a page of the art, damn it.
His big Superman's very Galactus-esque, isn't it?
It is actually.
Well, it was the Star Eater.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's very much Galactus and Silver Surfer as well, which I thought was a fun, because it's like the dog's the herald, but then the dog found this, found the kid that,
Yeah. And there's that scene at the end of the party, or before this party's really started, after they're set up, and Scott just comes down, and this is like the first time we've seen him and Barda together after the big fight in the park. And he comes over, he just lies down, puts his head in her lap. She's on her phone, just dealing. There's no talking at all until the last 2 panels, and he just says, "I love you," and she said, "I love you too." And that felt very real to me as well. It's like they're both tired, they're both stressed. It's like, okay, we just we may have shouted at each other yesterday. We're under a lot of pressure right now. But it's just like a real moment where I have to say this right now. We have to exchange this compassion, or otherwise we're really screwed.
Right.
And then it gets on the conversation, So, and then they basically decide, hey, why don't we pretend we're going to give him the kid, and then we'll just kill the bastard.
You say they decide. Scott tells us, it's like, yo,
It's
I'm going to say I'm going to give him the kid.
Yeah.
Go over there, and then instead I'm just going to kill him. I mean,
I also like this.
Can't, but sure, I'll give it a try, and then we can have a party.
The Scott's dynamic when it comes to the New Gods, like, so he calls Darkseid his father, right? Even though he's the biological son of Highfather.
Yeah.
Right? But he refuses to call Orion his brother. Because there was that thing where he talked about your brother would have done this, and he goes, he's not my brother. And there's got to be something more going on there, too, and I haven't quite figured it out yet. Because there's so many layers to this in the relationship. But I like these issues that focus on Scott and Barda.
I love how casual Barda is at the end of this. Yeah, it sounds good. I'll come too. I'll give you a hand. Why not?
And I love just obviously the idea he's trying to justify giving up the kid because he was giving up to Darkseid, and it turned out all right. Yeah. And of course she responds with, "No, I had to pick you off the floor because you'd cut yourself and try to commit suicide. That's not okay." Like, we're not actually that great. We're pretty messed up as people go. But it's that idea that you try to make sure your kids don't end up as much of a mess as you, but a lot of people do end up just becoming their parents and treating their kids the same way, and it kind of so there's some of that real world stuff in there, I thought. And then so the book ends, they're kissing, they're going to have sex, and it just ends with the final. So they've just decided to try and kill Darkseid, and it ends, the final panel is just that black panel saying Darkseid is. That is a cliffhanger. That is, like, just in terms of like the emotional decision to do this and try and kill Darkseid, given what this book has been this whole time, is like, nah, Darkseid is. If anything, if you hadn't told me this was issue 10, I'd assumed this would have been the second last one.
Yeah.
Just given this ending.
Makes me a little worried knowing that there's still 2 more.
I'm not worried. No. I trust them. Like, I have no reason to.
No, I don't mean worried about the quality. I meant worried about what's going to happen.
Oh, sure, yeah. Okay.
So I wanted to add to what Pete was talking about, the parents doing things so the kids don't have to go through that.
Yeah.
But it's also, don't forget, this is the 4th world, and that there's 3 worlds before it, and it's almost like Scott is fighting against repeating the same cycle or starting a new one. Because if he just hands over his firstborn to Darkseid, he's just repeating the same cycle. So technically the war's not actually ever going to end. It's just going to be at a, it's going to be at a standstill, much like it was for him growing up. So if he takes this alternate route, he's almost taking destiny into its own hands and going about it. Whether if that's what's causing the Darkseid is at the end, I don't know. It's not the familiar.
No, that's Mr. Miracle number 10. So I feel great dread for how this attempt of this assassination attempt is going to go. I feel like Darkseid is still going to end up taking the kid away. My guess would be Darkseid ends up with the kid by the end of the next issue, and then the final issue is them getting the kid back. But I mean, that's just
back, yeah.
That may be simplifying it too much. I don't know.
Well, he does have the anti-life equation. We know that.
Well, that was the scene we actually skipped over. Was the guy in the store talking about? He kind of stumbles into the life equation. He's sort of given his philosophy about doing what's best for you and what makes the most people happy. It's like an equation, a life equation. And I'm like, all right, I see what you're doing here. I see what you're doing.
Yeah.
Scott used to take this on a personal level. Because again, if we're talking in a real world sense where it was literally millions of people are going to die, then yeah, the needs of the many outweigh the needs of the few. Even if the few are just one kid, no matter how personal that may be.
If you don't like it, there's a good reason to strongly consider it.
Yes, but again, I think this is more about the metaphor. It's more about what it represents and just general parenthood and stress and depression. So, but yeah, life equation, so fun. So yeah, let's rate the bastard. Carter.
Oh, it's 10. This issue was fantastic.
Straight to a 10. Oh, baby. Matt.
Yeah, I was going to do the same thing. It's a 10.
Sorry, I stole your thunder there.
You did.
Yeah, I'm gonna go with a 9. I loved it. I have almost no reason to say why you shouldn't give it a 10. Just it's a 9.
No, that's fine. I just this hit so many different emotions as I was reading it, and again, you know, as much as I love Superman, I so relate to Scott sometimes. You know,
because you're not perfect, Matt. That's why.
Well, there's that, and and I just, it's not that I strive to be like Scott, but like that breakdown in the shower, like, man, that hit me hard for no reason, and there's no dialogue there. It's all the art.